Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam
Naranjaiva Narottamam
Naram Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiraye
Tato Jayamudiraye
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavate Uttamasloke
Bhagavate Uttamasloke
Bhaktin Bhavatir Naistiti
Bhaktin Bhavati Naistake
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Kṛṣṇāya
Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Nandagopa Kumaraya
Nandagopakumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna, welcome all the devotees for the morning Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. Today we are going to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, text number 35. So the canto name is The Cosmic Manifestation. And the chapter name is The Lord in the Heart. So please repeat the sloka behind me. bhagavān sarva-bhūteṣu
Bhagavān sarva-bhūteṣu
lakṣitaḥ svātmanā hariḥ
lakṣitaḥ
Svātmanā
hariḥ
dṛśyair buddhi-ādibhir draṣṭā
dṛśyair
buddhy-ādibhir draṣṭā
lakṣaṇair anumāpakaiḥ
lakṣaṇair
anumāpakaiḥ.
Word by word meaning, please repeat behind me. Bhagavān,
Bhagavān,
the personality of Godhead.
Personality of Godhead.
Sarva,
Sarva,
all. Bhūteṣu,
Bhūteṣu,
in the living entities.
the living entity.
lakṣitaḥ,
lakṣitaḥ
is visible.
is visible.
svātmanā,
Svātmanā,
along with the self.
along with the self.
hariḥ,
Hariḥ,
the Lord.
Lord.
dṛśyair,
dṛśyair,
by what is seen.
by what is seen.
buddhi-ādibhir,
Buddhi-ādibhir,
by intelligence.
by intelligence.
draṣṭā,
draṣṭā,
one who sees.
one who sees.
lakṣaṇair,
lakṣaṇair,
by different signs.
by different signs.
anumāpakaiḥ,
anumāpakaiḥ,
the hypothesis.
by hypothesis.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charna Desi Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada.
Jai Śrīla Prabhupada.
Translation, please repeat behind me. The personality of Godhead,
The
Personality of Godhead,
Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa,
Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa,
is in every living being,
is in every living being,
along with the individual soul.
along
along with the individual soul.
And this fact is
This fact is
perceived
perceived
and hypothesized
and hypothesized
in our acts
in our acts
of seeing
of seeing
and taking help from the intelligence.
and taking help from the intelligence.
Purport. The general argument of the common man is that since the Lord is not visible to our eyes, how can one either surrender unto him or render transcendental loving service unto him? To such a common man, here is a practical suggestion given by Śrīla Śukadeva Gosvāmī as to how one can perceive the Supreme Lord by reason and perception. Actually, the Lord is not perceivable by our present materialized senses, but When one is convinced of the presence of the Lord by a practical service attitude, there is a revolution by the Lord's mercy, and such a pure devotee of the Lord can perceive the Lord's presence always and everywhere. He can perceive that intelligence is the form direction of the Paramātmā, plenary portion of the Personality of Godhead. The presence of Paramātmā is everyone's company is not very difficult to realize, even for the common man. The procedure is as follows. One can perceive one's self-identification and feel positively that he exists. He may not feel it very abruptly, but by using a little intelligence, he can feel that he is not the body. He can feel that the hand, the leg, the head, the hair, and the limbs are all his bodily parts and parcels. But as such, the hands and legs and the head, etc., cannot be identified with his self. Therefore, just by using intelligence, he can distinguish the separate his self from other things that he sees. So, the natural conclusion is that the living being, either man or beast, is the seer, and he sees besides himself all other things. So, there is a difference between the seer and the seen. Now, by a little use of intelligence, we can also readily agree that the living being who sees the things beyond himself by ordinary vision has no power to see or to move independently. All our ordinary actions and perception depend on the various forms of energy supplied to us by nature in various combinations. Our senses of perception and of action, that is to say, our five perceptive senses of hearing, touch, sight, taste, and smell, as well as our five senses of action, namely hands, legs, speech, evacuation organs, and reproductive organs, and all our three subtle senses, namely mind, intelligence, and ego, 13 senses in all, are supplied to us by various arrangements of gross or subtle form of natural energy. And it is equally evident that our objects of perception are nothing but the product of inexhaustible permutations and combinations of the forms taken by natural energy. As this conclusively proves that the ordinary living being has no independent power of perception or of motion, and as we undoubtedly feel our existence being conditioned by natural energy, we conclude that he who sees is spirit and that the sees senses as well as the object of perception are material. The spiritual quality of the seer is manifest in our dissatisfaction with the limited state of materiality concluded existence. That is the difference between the spirit and the matter. There are some less intelligent arguments that matter develops the power of seeing and moving as a certain organic development, but such an argument cannot be accepted because there is no experimental evidence that matter has anywhere produced a living entity. Trust no future, however pleasant, ideal talks regarding future development of matter into spirit are actually foolish because no matter has ever developed the power of seeing or moving in any part of the world. Therefore, it is definite that matter and spirit are two different identities. And this conclusion is arrived by the use of intelligence. Now, we come to the point that the things which are seen by a little use of intelligence cannot be animate unless we accept someone as the user or a director of the intelligence. Intelligence gives one direction like some higher authority, and the living being cannot see or move or eat or do anything without the use of intelligence. When one fails to take advantage of intelligence, he becomes a deranged man. And so a living being is dependent on the intelligence or the direction of the superior being. Such intelligence is all-pervading. Every living being has his intelligence, and this intelligence, being the direction of some higher authority, is just like a father giving direction to his son, the higher authority, who is present and residing within every individual living being, is the superself. At this point in our investigation, we may consider the following questions. On the other hand, we realize that all our perception and activities are conditioned by arguments of material nature. Yet, we also ordinarily feel and say, I am perceiving, and I am doing. Therefore, we can say that our material senses, perception, and actions are moving because we are identifying the self with the material body, and that the superior principle of super self is guiding and supplying us according to our desire. By taking advantage of the guidance of super self is the form of intelligence, we can either continue to study and to put into practice our conclusion that I am not this body, or we can choose to remain in the false material identification, fancying ourselves to be the possessor and doer. Our freedom consists in orienting our desire either towards the ignorant material misconception or the true spiritual conception. We can easily attain to this true spiritual conception by recognizing the super self Paramātmā to be our friend and guide, and by devoting our intelligence with the superior intelligence of Paramātmā. The super self and the individual self are both spirit, and therefore the super self and the individual self are both qualitatively one and distinct from matter. But the super self and the individual self cannot be on the equal level because the super self gives direction or supply intelligence, and the individual self follows the direction, and thus actions are performed properly. The individual is completely dependent on the direction of the super soul because in every step the individual self follows the direction of the super self in the matter of seeing, hearing, thinking, feeling, willing, etc. So far as common sense is concerned, we come to the conclusion that there are three identifications, namely matter, spirit, and super soul. Now, if you go to the Bhagavad Gita or the Vedic intelligence, we can further understand that all three identities, namely matter, individual, spirit, and the super soul, are all independent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The super self is a partial representation or plenary portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhagavad Gita affirms the Supreme Personality of Godhead dominates all over the material world by his partial representation only. God is great and he cannot be simply an order supplier of the individual self. Therefore, the super self cannot be a full representation of the super self, Purushottama, the absolute personality of Godhead. Realization of the super soul by the individual self is the beginning of self-realization. And by the progress of such self-realization, one is able to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead by intelligence. By the help of authorized scriptures and principally by the grace of the Lord, the Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary conception of the personality of Godhead, Sri Kṛṣṇa, and the Srimad Bhagavatam is the further explain of the science of Godhead. So, if we stick to our determination of pray for the mercy of the director of intelligence sitting within the same bodily tree, like a bird sitting within another bird, as explained in the Upanishad, certainly the purport of the revealed information in the Vedas become clear to our vision, and there is no difficulty in realization the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. The intelligent man, therefore, after many births of such use of intelligence, surrender himself at the lotus feet of the Vasudeva as confirmed by Bhagavad Gita 7.19. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnana-anjana-shalakaya Chakshurmilidam-yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Shunyavad Pasha Sadesha Dharani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Today, this sloka, Śukadeva Gosvāmī is talking about the Paramātmā. So he is saying that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in every living being along with the individual soul. And this fact is perceived and hypothesized in our acts of seeing and taking help from the intelligence. So we are identifying ourselves as a bodily. So if we are giving the body a name and we are calling that name, since Atma is there, so immediately we are thinking that somebody calling me, so we are turning. And also indirectly or knowingly or unknowingly, we are always differentiate the body from ourselves. Yes, we are saying this is my hand, this is my head, this is my ear, and this is my cell phone, this is my book. So how we are the third party, we are identifying the third party thing, like this is the book, this is my book, this is my mobile phone. So that is that mobile phone or book that is distinct from me, that is the object, other object that I am just having that. So that is mine. This is my, we are saying. This is, I am the owner of this, like that we are saying. Similar way, we are calling this body also, this is my body. We are, this is not, I am not the body. We are not saying I am body. We are not saying I am body. We are saying this is my hand, this is my eyes. So how we are differentiating the objects, other objects, the mobile phone and books, as a, I am the owner of that. Similarly, we are thinking, we need to, we are identifying ourselves as the owner of this body, but because of the little, this is confusion, or we are not, we are unable to perceive the complete knowledge that we are distinct from the body, since our soul also living in this body, that we are unable to differentiate the body and the soul. So when we come across this kind of spiritual knowledge, then we can understand, okay, we are all the souls. This body is just a temporary thing. It's just a cloth given to us. That's how we are wearing the dress. Similarly, Lord is given to the dress. So that's what Lord Kṛṣṇa, very basic in the Bhagavad Gita, very basic is when we start the Bhagavad Gita knowledge to Arjuna, first he is giving the knowledge to Arjuna that you are the Atma and your body is temporary. You are different and your body is different. So there, if you see the Bhagavad Gita 2.22 sloka, Vasamsi girnani yato vihaya navani girnati narao parani tata sarirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. So Kṛṣṇa is giving the initial knowledge to Arjuna like this. As a person puts on new garments, giving up the old ones, the soul simultaneously accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. So here, there are two things we can understand. One is, soul is permanent, it is eternal, this body is temporary. Like how we are, once we are wearing the cloth, if it is not used or not in use, then we are changing, how we are changing the cloth. The similar way, the soul is changing the body. That's what Kṛṣṇa is saying. Once it is, this body is useless, immediately the soul coming out from this body and it is taking the another body. So this repeatedly it is happening in this material world. But how we can perceive, this is in the Purport, Prabhupada is asking the first question, similar questions. How we can perceive we are not seeing the Lord is not visible to eyes. How we can understand Lord is there? So for that, we need to get the knowledge from the scriptures. Okay. So when you see in Bhagavad Gita, Kṛṣṇa, multiple places he was explaining. So in the initial pages, he was explaining, you are not a body, you are a Atma. And in the further pages, he was explaining, I am sitting as a super soul, as a Paramātmā in your heart, and from me, knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. I am giving this to you. So it is not coming automatically somewhere. Lord is giving these three things to us. And also, if you see, this is the 15.15, it is, Kṛṣṇa is saying that, Sarvasya chaham vidhi sannivisto mattaha smidirñānam apohanam cha. So this first two lines, Kṛṣṇa is saying that I am sitting in everyone's heart. And from me, the knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness, these three things I am giving. So it is giving. It is clear that Lord is giving these three things to us. It is not our capability for the knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. But once we understand, when we come across this spiritual knowledge, we can understand that Lord is giving all those things. But the foolish man, what we are thinking that the intelligence, we are the intelligence. From our intelligence, I am doing this. So the scientists and all those people in this material world who are materially, they are materially getting developed. So those people are thinking that they are the intelligence. Actually, they have the intelligence. That intelligence is provided by the Lord. That knowledge they don't have. So this is the foolishness. Even though they are materially, they are higher studied, they may be a scientist, but the basic knowledge that this intelligence is provided by the Lord, this remembrance is provided by the Lord, this forgetfulness is provided by the Lord. So if Lord not provided all those things, what will happen? We will be in the coma stage. We can't do anything. We won't remember anything because we don't have the knowledge. Then we are just there is no difference between dead body and us because these three things were not there. Then without, if we have the remembrance, that's the reason we are doing the action, we are taking the hands, we are doing this, all those things. But without that knowledge, we can't do anything. So the knowledge provided by the Lord. So that's what Lord affirming that the 15.15 says that all these three things coming from me. And in Bhagavad Gita 13 chapter 23 sloka, Kṛṣṇa is saying that Ubadrishta anumanta cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwaraha Paramātmēti chapi yukto Dehi asmin Purusha param. So here also Kṛṣṇa is saying, yet Kṛṣṇa is saying, yet in this body there is another transcendental enjoyer who is the Lord, the supreme preparator, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the super soul. So here Kṛṣṇa introducing that I am sitting as a transcendental, I am the transcendental enjoyer, I am sitting in your heart. And what he is saying that he is doing two things. Here also he is saying that another two things. Yes, whatever we saw, this is the intelligence, forgetfulness, remembrance, that also God is giving. And here two acts he is doing. What is that? He is the overseer and permitter. So that means there is no privacy for us. So we are saying that nobody is seen. We can do some mistakes also. Okay, I did some mistake. Who nobody seen, not a problem. Like that we are thinking. But we are exposed to the Lord always, 24/7 we are exposed because he is sitting within our heart only. He is always there with us. So whatever the activities, even a small activities to big anything, Lord is recording that all those activities. He is the overseer. And also he is a permitter. So how he is a permitter? So when we thinking, feeling, willing, those things happening. So through the intelligence it is happening. So when it is happening, so I want to enjoy this, I want to eat this, I want to go this, I want to go to that place. Like that when we are coming, so whether based on his previous karma, whether it is eligible or he wanted to do that, then see, it is not that based on our previous karma, only the eligible thing only will get. Based on our the papa also, we may eligible to do some abominable activities also. That also permitted by the Lord. So then people will think that, people will ask, see, Lord is know everything, and why he is permitting to do the abominable activities by the individual living entities. So Lord don't want the individual living entities to do all the activities. So that's the reason there is a Upanishad. In the Upanishad, Muntaka Upanishad, and the Shveteshvatara Upanishad, what it is saying, Samani vrikshe purusho nimagno anishayo sochati muyamanaha jastam yada pasyati anyam isam asya mahimanam iti vatasokaha. So what it is saying, although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruit of the tree. But in the same way as the other, he turns his face to his friend and the Lord and know his glories. At once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Arjuna has now turned his face towards his eternal friend Kṛṣṇa and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him, and thus hearing the Kṛṣṇa, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be from the lamentation. So here it is this Upanishad is explaining there are two birds in a same tree. One bird is tasting all the fruits in the tree. It is jumping one branch to another branch. It is always his concentration with a full anxiety and moroseness, because somebody else will come and take. Before that, I need to take. With that kind of anxiety, it is jumping one branch to another branch. It is eating the fruit. And another bird, it is sitting on the same tree. It is not tasting any fruit. It is just overseeing what this other bird is doing, just seeing. And it is permitting, okay, you jump this place to other place and you enjoy this fruit. So the fruit enjoying the fruit, the bird is the ourselves. We are the souls. Without knowing, somebody overseeing us, and we are just enjoying the fruit, jumping one branch to another branch. With the anxiousness, somebody will come, I'm going to, if I leave it, the fruit will spoil. So all those mental speculations we are doing, enjoying the fruit. When the soul, another bird is representing the super soul. So that super soul is just permitting us and overseeing what we are doing. So that bird, when we turn ourselves towards the overseeing bird, that is a super soul, that means that time what will happen? That is called self-realization. That is the God realization. Okay. Somebody overseeing and somebody permitting me. Because of that, I'm able to enjoy this fruit. Then that time the self-realization is happening. That time Lord also giving the knowledge to us. We are not not just an enjoyer over here. We are here to make ourselves perfect and go back to Him. So Lord always, that's the reason Lord is as a super soul. He is always coming with us. He is always with us. Whatever the activities, He is not going to leave us. And along with all the living entities, yesterday Prabhu was asking me why the Lord was as a Paramātmā, He is living with all the living entities. So why He is living? So He is doing these activities. Remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge He is giving. And also He is a permitter and He is overseeing that activity. So that's the reason. So therefore, Lord, this body is for only for this material world. But Lord, He won't see this body, He will see only the soul level. So for Him, all the souls are equal. There is no difference between this is the dog soul, this is the human soul. There is no difference between the dog soul and the human soul. Soul is a soul. It is everywhere, it is the same soul. Because of his conditioned life, he got the dog body. Just a temporary dog body he got. But his soul is not a temporary one. So that is the reason Lord taking care of each and every living entity is along with this. Each and every living entity as Paramātmā, he is always will be there until he turned towards Him, until he realized and he is coming back to his Dham. Till that time, Lord is accompanying him. No one in this material world is going to accompany with us. Even our parents, our brothers, our sisters, our sons, daughters, nobody. This is that they are till they will be there in our death. That's all. After that, they also their relationship is over there itself. Then we are taking another body. Then we are creating a new set of families there. So this is happening. So somebody is from the top, if somebody is seeing that, what is happening? Okay, this person is now mingled with, born in a family, and he became he became a youth, he got married in producing a child, and he is getting old and he is dying. Again, the same, because whatever the activities he did, and here again he take the birth in some other family, he is doing the same activity. It may be an animal family or human family. It is same activity. So the Lord is overseeing all those activities, jumping one branch to another branch, one branch to another branch. Is eating the fruits like the bird. The bird is eating the fruit. Similarly, Lord is overseeing all those things. When the bird realizes that someone is seeing, someone is giving the permission. So when that understanding comes, then that is the understanding of Paramātmā. Oh, Lord is there. Then Lord give the knowledge. So then why we are getting this Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita knowledges? Because earlier we were the like a other bad, we were enjoying propensity. But because of our whatever the punya, not you can't say it is a punya, whatever we accumulated, by doing the devotional services in the previous births, now we got the touch with this knowledges, but because of that we turn towards how the bird turning towards the Lord, and the understanding this is the overseer and permitter, we turn towards the Lord and we understand that. That's the reason we are discussing the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, and we understand that this is Lord is always with us as a Paramātmā. So this entire chapter in the previous slokas in the Paramātmā, this entire chapter, the second chapter of second canto, second chapter, the entire chapter is Lord is in the heart. So there previously we saw that how the Paramātmā, what is his size, how he look like, how he is sitting in our heart. So that is the way we are understanding Paramātmā in our heart. But even though, see, we are studying now, once this class is over, then we will take care of our activities, regular activities. But immediately we will forget that, okay, Lord is in my heart. Immediately our own ahankar will increase, that then, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this. So whatever activities we are doing, it is because of the permitter and overseer, and he is doing, because of him I am acting. That understanding, even though we are reading, we are hearing, we are realizing during this discussion, once the discussion is over, we will forget and we will get into that our own mode. So that is our position now. So when we keeping that knowledge, okay, the Lord is an overseer, Lord is giving this knowledge, and he is permitting me to do this. When we understand that, that is called Kṛṣṇa consciousness. When we realizing that always, okay, because of the Lord, it is happening. The Lord is giving me the permission. Lord is giving me the intelligence to do this activity. That is Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So to develop that only, we are doing all these activities, the spiritual activities, and the reading scriptures, understanding the scripture. Why? We want to always need to remember these things. That remembrance also provided by that is also the causeless mercy of the Lord. Even though we are reading, we are unable to remember. We are hearing, we are unable to remember, unable to realize. Why? Because that remembrance also provided by the Lord. Okay, this person only this much can understand, this much can realize. So that is the reason we can see the various kind of devotees. The devotee is somebody by hearing this knowledge, immediately he is leaving all this material. He is leaving all this material enjoyment. They become a sannyasi. They become a brahmachari always in this life, because they understand, they hear that there is a Lord is sitting as the Paramātmā. He is overseeing all of our activities. So we are not here to do any such abominable activities. For that, they want to practice, they become a brahmachari. But that kind of knowledge, remembrance, that kind of knowledge is not, realization is not with us. So we are getting to the family life, we are getting to the other karma, other activities. So the today's sloka, it is talking about this. Śukadeva Gosvāmī is talking about the super soul, that is Paramātmā. He is always in the he is sitting with along with the individual soul until we go back to Godhead. He is always accompanying us. He is giving the guidance, and he is giving the permitter and the overseer. From him, knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness is coming. So Kṛṣṇa also in Bhagavad Gita, he affirmed and he said the same thing. So this is the authority, the spiritual authority. Śukadeva Gosvāmī is a bona fide spiritual master, and Kṛṣṇa is a supreme master. Both are confirming that Paramātmā, as a Paramātmā, Kṛṣṇa is living in our heart. So this realization always, this remembrance always need to be there with us, so that we won't get, okay, Lord is there in my heart, I won't do any other unwanted activities or unlawful activities. We will always speak truth. We always get into the path of self-realization. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.